Robyn Brown's resolution: dispute with spouse Kody, departing residence with offspring. Robyn Brown, a prominent figure from Sister Wives, has reached a significant decision. Following a protracted conflict with her husband Kody Brown, she ultimately reached her breaking point and departed with her children. Subsequent to the incident, Kody made multiple attempts to reconcile the relationship. He implored Robyn, stating, "I shall never engage in conflict with you again. Simply return home in this manner." However, Robyn seems to have reached a decision. He disregarded whatever Kody spoke. He was resolute and unyielding. This incident has generated significant excitement among Sister Wives enthusiasts. Despite the prolonged strain in their relationship being evident to all, no one anticipated such a significant development. In the serene twilight of Flagstaff, Arizona, anxiety had been escalating for an extended period within the Brown household. Robyn Brown, previously seen as the conciliator among the Sister Wives, has arrived at her limit. It did not occur instantaneously. For months, Robyn had a growing sense of isolation within her marriage to Kody Brown. Their formerly profound dialogues had devolved into frigid silences. Each effort she undertook to close the widening emotional chasm was received with defensiveness, or, more detrimentally, dismissiveness. Kody had become angry, sullen, and unpleasant, particularly following the departures of Christine and Janelle. The Brown family's foundation began to deteriorate, leaving Robyn to maintain a semblance of a dream that no longer reflected the life she had envisioned. The ultimate tipping point occurred on a Monday evening, shortly after dinner. Kody got home late, visibly furious, and promptly into a tirade on the children's behavior and Robyn's lack of discipline. His tone was acerbic, his words injurious, and the youngsters observed in mute dread. "I refuse to tread lightly any longer," Robyn stated softly after Kody abruptly exited to another room. He returned, perceiving a change had occurred. "Refrain from initiating this once more, Robyn," he cautioned, agitated. "I am not initiating anything, Kody. I am terminating it." Kody gazed at her. "What is the implication of that statement?" "It signifies that the children and I are departing. This evening." "You are exhibiting excessive emotion." "No," Robyn asserted decisively. "I have remained silent. I have exercised patience. I have endeavored to maintain the cohesion of this family. What remains to grasp? You no longer perceive my presence. You fail to listen. You are now inflicting emotional and spiritual harm on the children. I will not permit that to persist." Kody's expression momentarily softened, with dread evident in his eyes. "Robyn, I will alter my behavior. I vow. I shall not engage in conflict with you again. Simply do not depart. Please return home in this manner." However, Robyn remained resolute. She had encountered those terms excessively. That night, with her children secured in the car and a suitcase quickly assembled, she departed from the residence that had previously symbolized unity, affection, and collective belief. She relocated to a modest rental on the opposite side of town. After years, she experienced an unusual tranquility, a calmness derived not from resolve, but from clarity. She commenced therapy, enrolled her children in new educational institutions, and sought support from a community of women who had similarly exited numerous marriages. The public quickly became aware. Fans of Sister Wives inundated social media with expressions of astonishment, encouragement, and conjecture. Some attributed the issue to Kody's domineering disposition, while others scrutinized Robyn's authenticity. However, those nearest to the family were aware that this was not a mere publicity ploy. This was a woman advocating for herself and her children. Kody, in the meantime, descended into chaos. Isolated in the vacant residence, he was tormented by the echoes of Robyn's soft footsteps, the mirth of their offspring, and the palpable void of affection. In an uncommon confessional recorded months later, Robyn spoke herself openly. "I remained longer than necessary. I held faith in family, in commitment, in absolution. Occasionally, loving someone necessitates relinquishing them, for both their benefit and your own. I continue to have affection for Kody. However, my primary concern is mending and rediscovering my voice. for my personal use, and for my children. Nevertheless, the morning in Moab, Utah, was brisk and autumnal. The golden leaves waved in the breeze, animatedly, as if nature itself were commemorating Christine's significant occasion. Following years of emotional turmoil, self-reclamation, and liberation from an unfulfilling existence, Christine Brown was finally embarking on a new chapter, this time according to her own specifications. The location was both private and enchanting, a vast meadow framed by the La Salle Mountains. Rows of white chairs adorned with burgundy and blush flowers formed a beautiful pathway leading to a rustic wooden arch draped in fabric and eucalyptus leaves. Friends, family, and Christine's dearest companions assembled, brimming with elation and sentiment. As the gentle strains of a live violin commenced, all attention shifted to the wooden barn doors that gradually creaked open. Christine stood resplendent in a flowing white gown adorned with lace sleeves and a train that glimmered in the sunlight. Her golden hair was styled in loose curls and secured with pins, adorned with a lovely flower crown. Her smile was radiant, yet her eyes bore the burden of all she had endured. Accompanying her was her son Paydon, robust and confident, assisting her with each step. Her daughters, Michaelty, Aspen, Isabel, truly, observed with tears shimmering in their eyes. This beyond a mere wedding, it represented a time of metamorphosis. At the aisle's conclusion stood David, her fiancé, exhibiting a blend of anxiety and elation. He donned a traditional navy suit complemented by a burgundy tie that harmonized with the autumnal hues of the day. Upon Christine's arrival, he said, "You resemble the sunrise," prompting her to giggle amidst her tears. The officiant, a long-standing friend of Christine from Utah, commenced with poignant remarks. "Today, we commemorate not merely the union of two souls, but a woman who courageously emerged from adversity, prioritized herself, and discovered love following sorrow." During the ceremony, the audience emitted gentle sniffles. Even Janelle, seated in the front row with a serene expression, wiped her eyes. Despite their tumultuous experiences, today was dedicated to joy, celebrating Christine's attainment of the love and respect she had long merited. As the vows were said, Christine's voice quivered. "David, you are not merely the man I adore, but the companion I have longed for. You have demonstrated the essence of tender affection. You have restored my capacity to laugh, trust, and believe. I vow to accompany you with integrity, fidelity, and joy throughout my entire life." David grasped her hand and stated, "Christine, my affection extends beyond your smile and strength. I have fallen for your resilience, your unwavering love for your family, and your indomitable spirit. I vow to be your sanctuary, your supporter, and your lifelong companion." Upon exchanging rings and sharing their inaugural kiss as a married couple, the guests erupted in ovation. Truly released a white dove into the sky, symbolizing peace and fresh beginnings. The reception was cordial and infused with affection, featuring dancing, speeches, and a slideshow chronicling Christine's journey from her early years in polygamy to this empowering occasion. Emotions encompassed tears, laughter, and hope. As night descended and the stars illuminated the sky, Christine stood barefoot on the dance floor, swaying to a gentle melody with David. She murmured, "I never anticipated possessing this." David grinned and drew her nearer. "You merit all of this and beyond." As the visitors applauded and the moonlight illuminated the meadow, Christine Brown, previously overshadowed, stood confidently in her own brilliance. Her trip transcended only traversing the aisle. It pertained to advancing towards her own self. Nevertheless, the festive season brings both joy and strain for the Brown family over Christmas. Throughout the years, the family's Christmas customs have transformed, as each lady has her own conception of an ideal Christmas. Nonetheless, one aspect has consistently been clear: Christmas was a period for unity, despite occasional tensions in their relationship. The first Christmas following the family's expansion posed a challenge for Kody, who was endeavoring to navigate the varying dynamics among his wives while striving to foster a sense of oneness. Christine, embodying the joyful spirit, was resolute in orchestrating a large party, envisioning a home replete with laughter, warmth, and a plethora of gifts. She was raised in a tight-knit household where holidays symbolized affection, and she yearned to replicate that sentiment for her children. Mary, however, experienced a sense of isolation. As the longest-standing family member, she felt fatigued by the continual obligation to act as the mediator, particularly during the holidays. She desired a more tranquil occasion, an intimate family meeting, rather than the lavish event Christine had orchestrated. There are instances of anxiety when Mary pondered whether her attempts to maintain harmony were beginning to disintegrate. Janelle, perpetually pragmatic, found herself in a predicament. She was not excessively preoccupied with grand traditions, although she sought to respect her children's wishes. As the holiday season approached, she endeavored to reconcile the expectations of others, even at the expense of her own comfort. Subsequently, there was Robyn, recently integrated into the family and endeavoring to establish her role. She was enthusiastic about forming connections with others yet perceived herself as an outsider. The children were still acclimating to their new stepmother, and the holiday season exacerbated the sensation of being the newcomer. The family's inaugural significant holiday together was tumultuous, yet unforgettable. Kody found himself in conflict between his wives' divergent perspectives on Christmas, revealing a lack of consensus among them. Christine, exasperated by the absence of cohesion, assumed responsibility for orchestrating the day, adorning the residence with lights, ornaments, and a huge Christmas tree. She insisted on a substantial supper, featuring turkey, mashed potatoes, and pies, reminiscent of her youth. Mary, grappling with the increasing estrangement from Kody, discreetly withdrew from the holiday preparations. She devoted a significant portion of the day to her room, engrossed in reading, evading the palpable tensions surrounding her. Janelle, consistently the mediator, endeavored to maintain harmony, ensuring the youngsters enjoyed themselves while struggling to ignore the tension among the grown-ups. Robyn, endeavoring to establish her credibility, attempted to assimilate, although it remained evident that she was still the newcomer. During that Christmas, the family scarcely succeeded in gathering for a meal, and the fractures in their relationships were more apparent than ever. However, it was not an absolute loss. The children enjoyed themselves, and there were instances of authentic delight among the ladies, although the prevailing stress. The day concluded with a consensus that improvements were necessary for the following year. Ultimately, they constituted a family. In the next years, the Christmas traditions of the Brown family underwent transformation, as did their interpersonal dynamics. The initial years were challenging. Underlying conflicts persisted as the spouses endeavored to define their positions within the family. However, after time, they started to acclimate. They began to honor each other's holiday preferences, despite occasional disagreements. Christine, maintaining her enthusiasm for Christmas, learned to relinquish certain romanticized ideals. She recognized that the holiday need not be flawless to hold significance. The children had matured, and Christmas had shifted to a focus on togetherness rather than extravagant displays. Janelle, who had consistently favored a more understated holiday, began to spearhead tranquil, contemplative Christmas observances, such as strolling in the snow or narrating tales to the children by the fireplace. Mary, previously somewhat aloof, began to adopt the family's Christmas customs in her unique manner. She discovered tranquility in serene moments, engaging with the children and prioritizing connection over the facade of a perfect family during the holiday. Robyn, having developed a rapport with the children and established her role, commenced planning special activities such as holiday movie nights and cookie baking sessions. She discovered a distinctive method of connecting with each wife and was no longer perceived as the outsider. Christmas had become an occasion she celebrated with her family, her unique contribution to the collective experience. The year Kody and Christine chose to separate, Christmas assumed a fundamentally different significance. It was not a mournful event, but rather an occasion for contemplation and rejuvenation. Christine, having departed from her family and embarked on a new chapter in Utah, chose to celebrate the holiday with her children and extended relatives. Kody, still acclimating to the alterations, commemorated with Robyn and the children in Flagstaff. The Christmas was subdued, yet imbued with affection and an acknowledgement of altered traditions. The ladies, although their disparities, united to provide the children with a joyous Christmas. They all acknowledged the significance of being united for the benefit of their children, despite the deterioration of their relationship with Kody. Subsequent years witnessed the ongoing evolution of the Brown family. Christmas evolved into a period of nostalgia and development. The ladies, now more autonomous and confident, persisted in celebrating with the children, harmonizing their distinct customs while honoring one another's boundaries. Grand expectations of perfection had dissipated. The celebration was characterized by affection, familial bonds, and the collective recollections of their previous Christmases. Amidst the fluctuations, Christmas had evolved from an emphasis on external displays to a focus on the simple moments that fostered familial bonds. The Brown family discovered that the essence of Christmas resided not in gifts or decorations, but in the time spent together on tranquil mornings with their children and shared laughter over hot chocolate, regardless of their family's unconventionality. Each Christmas, when snow delicately blanketed the desert terrain, they convened, adult children, new partners, and established customs, fabricating new memories, one holiday at a time.